Because you don't need 20 friends. You just need 3 motherfuckers and you can take over a country. Okay, that's what we're confused as Americans. We think we need all these motherfuckers. You give me 3 bad motherfuckers and you're finished. You understand me? You're fucking finished. Because we got each other. And, you know, listen, man.
Look alive.
We are here.
Mono Matter Season 3, Episode 3, back for another one of your favorite podcasts. And goddammit, the best podcast in the 973. People talking down the 973. I don't like it. Yeah. We will not have it. We will not stand for it.
Anti.
Yeah, we anti.
Anti.
But yeah, Mono Matters, we back. I am your humble host, J Optics, here with my not so humble host.
Your man NOV, aka that boy. That guy.
So we doing this show for the dogs, man.
For all
we don't know what type of dogs y'all are.
Hey, man. Let's go on top of a building. A woof. Oh, my God.
So, yeah, if y'all haven't known, the world was kind of on a standstill a little bit. The number one rapper in the entire world, some people say the GOAT, the greatest rapper of all time.
What you talking about?
Aubrey Graham, Drizzy Drake.
Oh, man.
Drizzy from the six guy, Drake.
Six.
Dropped the album for all the dogs.
For all the dogs.
His first album was just himself since 2022. Honestly, never mind. And man, it was a lot of reactions to it. It was heavily scrutinized early on within the first 24 hours. It was a lot of messy shit going on, a lot of posting about it going on. How the hell can things like that happen in real life and we not talk about it on this said podcast? Given that we do talk a lot of relationship shit on our podcast, and guess who also talks about a lot of relationship shit?
Yeah.
Drizzy Drake. So we're going to talk about the album. We're going to break it down, have our thoughts on it. Us being from Jersey, us being fans of certain particular people.
Yeah.
And also us being former artists ourselves, we find it only right that we had to kind of discuss the album in some great detail. And I think we got some heavy opinions on the subject itself. So tune into that. We're going to kind of use the album as a backdrop to kind of talk about men who are messy when it comes to relationships and things like that. So chatty patties, dudes that are toxic, dudes that are petty, and all that will be discussed later on the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But
it's gonna be fun.
We got to get into it, man. How the fuck are you feeling, man? I need a mental health check in. I need to know how the hell you doing in life out here.
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing pretty well, man. I feel marvelous out here. I'm gonna say I'm about at like a good, nice even kill 8.7. Let's go 8.7, man. 8.7.
All right. I can rock out with that.
I like 8.7. That's pretty cool.
I can rock out with that. I'm at like a 9.2. I'm at like a 9.2. I got my son. I got my wife. I got my stepson.
I feel you.
I really can't complain, man. Everything's looking up on the up and up.
Yeah.
I get excited about doing this goddamn podcast. Every week we in the trifecta zone right now. We 3-peating. There's 3 weeks in a row that we've been consistent. So I hope that, that continues and we keep going forward with the show.
Are you excited about going to work though?
No. Who the fuck gets excited about going back to work?
I just had to make sure I needed a temperature check real quick.
Yeah, I'm not excited about going back to work. I want to stay at home for the rest of my life.
Oh man.
Yeah. I like my little routine.
Out here living a bad bitch life. I love it.
I'm living a bad bitch life.
I appreciate it.
Shit, if you was in smacking distance, I might take it up top on you and shit like that. But yeah, it's nice waking up just wondering like what the fuck we doing for lunch every day.
Yeah.
What the fuck going on with lunch and shit? Make sure the Wi-Fi got a strong connection. Shit like that, man.
Yeah,
it's nice.
That's a definite. You need this strong Wi-Fi.
But yeah, man, look, without further delay, I mean, we kind of got to get into this for all the dogs shit.
We do. And you do understand this was not a dry show at all.
No, it's not a dry show.
So,
for those people who did not tune into our pregame,
exactly,
y'all wouldn't know that we are drinking on Knob Creek today.
A.K.A. the Knob. That's why I call it the Knob.
We feel like this is an oldie but a goodie, though.
It's smooth. It's chill. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a solid
5.5.
5.5?
Gotta
Well,
switch it up a little
that's
bit.
kind of weird because you can't give it a solid 5.5, man.
Sure, I can.
Nah, 5.5 does nothing for nobody.
It does what it needs to do. I mean, you ain't gonna go out the way for it.
You give it a serviceable 5.5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5. So I'll give it a 6.5 on the Knob Creek. It's just a regular whiskey.
That's why I want
That you pick up.
5.5.
You know, do what you got to do.
But we do take donations, options, opinions, suggestions on liquor. You know, we'll struggle through some tequila. We'll grit our teeth and bear it with some vodka. But you know, the boys love the brown. If it's brown, we down. So, you know, if you have any suggestions or anything like that, or you like to donate a bottle, hit us up in the email, mindonmatters@gmail.com. You can hit us on our Instagram at mindonmatters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let's get into it. Got to talk about the elephant in the room, man. Got to talk about the dog that's in the room. Drake dropped the album.
He did.
For all the dogs. Highly anticipated. I can't say promoted, but the hype around this album was that we were going to be getting a few things.
Yeah.
That we were going to be receiving
A few promises, yeah.
signs.
Yeah.
That we were going to be receiving hints of the old Drake.
Yeah.
The quote-unquote old Drake.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to put this disclaimer out there right now. I am not a Drake fan. That doesn't mean I haven't listened to his music. That does not mean I haven't listened to every single one of his albums in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not a Drake fan. I would not pay money to see this man. If this was back in the day when you got to run an FYE to like pay your hard-earned dollars to buy an album, I would not spend money on a Drake album or anything like that. I stopped being a Drake fan in about 2010.
What happened in 2010?
It's nothing that happened. But I feel like me being someone who has walked the path of being an artist and being a rapper myself, I feel like once you stop living up to a certain level of artistic integrity, I really just can't fuck with you no more. And me also being the man that I am, I don't really fuck with bitch assness. And he has shown time and time again situations of bitch assness that I just cannot fuck with.
Sorry.
So
Sounds a little personal here.
I would say that I'm going into this with everything that you hear that I say about this album going forward, that though I am not biased in being a Drake fan, I am also not, though I'm not biased in being a Drake fan, I'm also not going to give you some soft, easy opinion and breakdown and react and review of Drake's album.
Yeah.
That is going to be scathing and scrutinized the same way I would do anybody else.
So we have a similar mindset, but you do know I could be extra critical on certain things and certain people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm a Drake fan. I would say I respect the artistship of that man. I respect the artistship. I respect he does very subtle, smart shit that I can respect. The allegations about whether or not he writes his own shit or ever whatever the case may be, that took it out the running for me. You know, I'm big like, yo, ping your own shit. But when it comes to Drake as like, is he in the Daily Tuner? No.
Right.
No. I just kind of feel like he makes very good introspective late night 3 cups in music, about to make a bad decision. I kind of want to call somebody. I don't know. Very good music like that. But as far as like, yo, I want to throw this on because I want to get in this zone. Nah. I don't feel like he does it for me as far as that.
So let's set the tone as far as like what we heard. Again, we say there was said from people on the inside who had heard some of the records that we were going to get some of the old Drake back. He even alluded to it, saying that fans want the old Drake back. I'm about to give it to y'all. Y'all going to recognize this man. People who was close to him within his camp has said that we're going to get some of the best verses that we've ever got from Aubrey. in his entire career at this point and shit. I feel like there's no filter that he's about to go in crazy right now. So we also heard that, since, this is his first solo album in a year, really, if you want to be honest about it, his first solo album in 2 years since Certified Lover Boy, in my opinion. But yeah, it was a lot of hype around this. Him being the number one artist in the world as far as hip hop and rap is concerned. I went into it with an open mind. Swear to God, I went into the shit with a fucking open mind as much as I ever went into a Drake album before. And a lot of that had to do with this podcast right here. Because I said, you know what? I know we're going to talk about this shit on this podcast. Let me listen to this shit as somebody who's neutral as possible. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you, bro.
Oh, shit.
Whenever I listen to an album, the first thing I do, if I'm being transparent, is I go to the track listing. I want to know, one, how long is the album? How much time I got to dedicate to this shit? I take whatever that number is and I times it by 2 for a second listen, or times where I might have to pause, research, things of that nature. Cool. I saw that this motherfucker was an hour and 25 minutes. I said, all right, there goes my afternoon. 23 tracks.
Yeah.
I said, oh, if it's as good as they say it's going to be, good shit. 23, Jordan, LeBron, I'm with it. If I'm about to get 23 bangers. And even if it ain't 23 bangers because there's some interludes on there, if I got 20, 18 bangers on there, I don't care. Next thing I check for, features.
Yeah, that's important.
Going down the line, what's the features, man? Tizo Touchdown, 21 Savage, J. Cole, SZA, Sexy Red, Party Next Door, Chief Keef, Bad Bunny, Lil Yachty. My brain went automatically. Can't wait to hear that J. Cole record.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear that J. Cole record.
Yeah.
Some of these other motherfuckers I don't even know, and I ain't really excited about listening to anyway. Cool. I know Bad Bunny.
I was about to say, show Bad Bunny some respect.
I know Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's like probably the number one artist in the world.
Yes, sir.
No matter, regardless of genre. So boom, I hit play on the record. Right? Let's get into this album and shit. First record plays.
Virginia Beach.
The title doesn't strike me just yet. But I hit play and the shit is on the TV and I'm like, Virginia Beach. Why are we in Virginia Beach? He on tour or something that I don't know about? And the only thing that clicks in my head between Drake and Virginia is Pusha T.
Yeah.
That's the only line that I can draw.
Yeah.
And it kind of struck me as like, are we starting this album off with shots already? If so, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm getting the old Drake,
that's what he does.
By all means.
That's what he does.
Go there.
Yeah.
So much to my chagrin, a man like myself who puts a lot of emphasis on intros, songs. How you start says a lot to me about how you going to finish.
It's the tone. It sets the tone.
Set the tone, Drake. Old Drake, when I heard this nigga come in singing, I sat back in my car. I said, bro, what are we doing?
I mean,
what the fuck are we doing?
I mean, it is technically old Drake. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was a singing motherfucker. He had some bars in between there, but he was singing. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That first track kind of put me on the path of like, yo, don't do this.
What are we doing?
Don't do this.
What are we doing? I think I said to my wife, like maybe minutes prior, I said, I do not want to hear an R&B record. And by R&B record, I meant like something that is more skewed towards, if it had to be pie charted, like raps to R&B records, it better not be more R&B records than there are raps.
Okay.
And it actually should be like a 75-25 ratio, raps to singing.
I mean,
like
we talk about old Drake, right? We talking old Drake.
We're talking about old Drake.
Okay.
So when I got this on the track 1, I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Whatever, man. Who cares and shit. I actually like the record. Like, it got a bop to it that I really fuck with and shit. It got a Frank Ocean sample that I really fuck with, that I really, 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 really enjoy. So that was cool. So he set the tone there. as you start to get through these songs, man, you find yourself listening to the record and you thinking to yourself, even by the time you get to maybe track 4, you start thinking to yourself like, this shit really feels like in a software update to a program that has not changed at all. Like, it really feels like Microsoft Word and shit. Like, I'm really entering the same commands. I really got the same foundation. It's just new production on top of this shit. And it felt already like you didn't step out of anything that has got me excited within the first 25% of this album already.
Some people would tell you got to open your mind up a little bit. You gotta go into it and just, you got to feel the music. You can't necessarily listen to what he's saying. You got to feel it because Drake is a vibe, apparently.
I would love for people who have that opinion. Maybe if you're more of a Drake fan than I am and you have an open line of Drake, tell him that.
Ooh.
Don't tell me that.
Okay.
Open up your mind and all the other shit to new sounds and all the shit. Tell him that.
Okay.
I swear to God, playing this entire album, if you played this shit for me in 2017, I'll be on some shit like, it sounds like 2017. There was nothing inspirational in this. There was nothing in this that made me feel like inspired as an artist. Like, oh, I can see why that chance got taken, or this is new, this is fresh, this is anything. The whole overall album screamed of easy listening. I'm going to find a couple of tracks on this album that I can have some replayability that I'm gonna fuck with when I'm in the car, in the gym, or in the crib cleaning. But like tracks that I need to go back to because they just hit different.
Yeah.
Where they at?
I don't know.
And if there's one on here, it ain't because of you, bro.
So you mentioned something that was quite interesting, and you said by the time you get to track 4, you probably have that type of.
What we at? What we doing here?
Track 4, very interesting. Very, very interesting. A lot of speculation this track was meant for somebody or aimed at somebody, depending on how you interpret lyrics and such and all of that. See, this is where I feel like if we're talking about old Drake, technically this is old Drake. This is currently new Drake and old Drake. Petty has always been this man's middle name. Actually, it might be his first name at this point. But, yeah, Fair Heights. A lot was said in this record. Might have taken some shots at Rihanna.
So the lyrics is as follow. Hey, look. Why they make it sound like I'm still hung up on you? That can never be me. Gal can't ruin me. Better him than me. Better it's not me. I'm anti. Yeah, and the sex was average with you. Yeah, I'm anti because I had it with you. Okay, I'm anti like your daddy's sister. I'm anti like a family picture.
Auntie.
And I had way better bitches than you, to be honest. And if you know, Rihanna's album was called Anti. So there's a little bit of correlation there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that man's still with you and he can't leave. Y'all go on vacation. I bet it's the Antilles.
You seem like you have some things on your mind. You seem like you have something you want to get off your chest.
Let me get back to why I'm not a Drake fan, and maybe it'll make sense, right? There was a point in J. Cole's career where I had said, bro, you are a very, 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 very talented MC. You are an exceptional rapper. I can see your talent even as an MC myself. But my nigga, how many times do I have to hear about how you met Jay-Z and you handed him your CD and the motherfucker was like, all right, dude, have a good day. Peace. Like you fucking ran that shit into the fucking ground and shit. I didn't need to hear that no more.
Some would say that J. Cole started off like all right, J. Cole for me started off like you can just hear and you can hear the talent. Like
Yeah, you can hear the talent.
You can hear the talent and you can hear the potential.
I can hear the talent in Drake early on too, though.
But I feel like J. Cole initially started off like I related to Cole because he was talking about a lot of shit that, you know, normal motherfuckers go through. Sally Mae, bills, shit like that. Like normal shit. Might not be the shit you want to hear, but it's normal shit. But with Cole, I feel like there was an ascension in.
Well, let me finish cooking. So, with Drake, and I half blame him and I half blame his fans. Right? Drake has gotten away with putting out mediocre shit for like the last 13, 14 years. And when I say mediocre shit, is this motherfucker's content in context has all revolved about rapping about bad relationships with women. And why the fuck would somebody do that? It sells. Why? Who's the number one connoisseur of Drake's music? His entire career has essentially been held up by females. A lot of his records have been held up because of strip club culture. I would even go as far as to say the NBA culture, NBA players who have ruled that Drake is their GOAT, NFL players as well. And also just a regular schmegula female that want to put something in the car as they go to work or who might be going through some relationship shit to just throw this shit on. I say that because if you talk to any Drake fan, and the ones that I have talked to, I have found it hard pressed for them to explain to me how lyrically this man is exceptional. The words I hear is that this man is a vibe. He makes good records that are a vibe. He just give you that feeling of something. But somebody who might be looking for something that's deeper, outside of just good ass production, this man is uninspiring, to say the least. You've been rapping about the same content for over a decade in different ways and just repackaging it and saying that this is something that is brand new. And I don't understand why that he hasn't been called to the carpet on saying like, yo, do you have anything else for us? Have you stepped anywhere out of your zone? And to that answer, I would say yes. Drake has stepped out of his own zones. Every single time he has done so with somebody else's hand or with his hand connected to somebody else's pocket.
Yeah, I would say like,
this nigga Drake has went from the Degrassi TV show, the half black, half white suburb nigga who was criticizing black people for using the word nigga. Look that up on YouTube. And how we talk in our ebonics and shit like that. Since then, this nigga has mingled with some of the niggas that we consider gangster rappers. This nigga turned Jamaican. This nigga turned he turned into a UK rapper.
Jamaican. Oh God.
Am I lying or what?
I'll let you get your shit off. Go ahead.
Galled him.
Get your shit off. Go ahead.
He started fucking with the UK niggas. This soft ass motherfucker been allowed in the battle rap scene. This motherfucker has been given every single concession that has not been afforded to any other rapper in the history of hip hop. And why is that? Because not a single fan of his or a single rapper that's in the industry has had the balls enough to say, yo, your shit is mediocre. As far as I'm concerned, the only reason why Drake has been allowed to get away with this level of music for this long is because at his core, this nigga is a pop artist. And as long as you keep making shit that we can dance to, good. We like it, bro. Keep making them number one hits for us.
I feel like a lot of the points you made are valid. Definitely. And I'm not going to defend or try to come to any defense. What I would say is this. I found that a lot more women than we think don't like this nigga, are tired of this nigga. And I feel like, for lack of a better phrase, what's holding him up now is the younger crowd. The younger crowd of males that, you know, gravitate to what he's saying or how he's saying it more so than what he's saying. If you listen to a lot of Drake's songs now, it's not really what he's saying, it's how he's saying it. And you said something before, like, if you focus in on what Drake is good at, yeah, it is pop. Pop is where, you know, his line is, for more so. What I found observing Drake these past couple years is, if you want Drake bars, old school Drake bars, he got to be on somebody else shit. Like, feature Drake, he's starting to fall into that category where feature Drake is different than album Drake. If you put Drake on a feature, he gonna give you some shit. Drake on the album, he gonna sing you a lullaby. So it all depends on which Drake you choose to focus on. Like, what was his last feature that I was kind of fucking with a little bit? Honestly, I think the last feature he was on, well, no, the last Drake verse I was listening to, I was like, this got a little bit of old Drake feel to it, was Seeing Green with Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne. I respected his verse on that. I was like, all right, okay. But it just feels so like it felt like something missing. Like, I don't know if, like, listening to Drake now, it's like, it's a combination of people you listening to. Like, I don't want to say he don't know who he is. Maybe this is who he's been the whole time. I'm pretty sure. For lack of a better phrase, this is who he's been. But to answer your question, as far as why nobody's checked him and nothing like that, you know, there's that thin line between, that's always been stated before, like, yo, you selling, but you not nice. And it's like, yeah, cool, but the overall point is to sell. I think we've kind of put Drake on a higher pedestal than we need to for a couple of reasons. One, if there's already allegations that this man ain't writing all his shit, then it's pretty clear he ain't trying to be an MC.
We passed allegations. This is proof.
Yeah. So he's not trying to be an MC.
No.
We know that. You know, he's blessed with a gift that, you know, he's good with these words and he can carry a tune. So what's the best way to utilize that? And if I can do both, who would I be better served in doing it for? So the demo shakes up as the demo shakes up. As far as him singing about relationships and everything else, you said it the best. Relationships and all toxicity sell.
It does.
So if you mean to tell me I can follow this formula that's guaranteed to work and been proven to work, why the fuck wouldn't I follow it? So that's why I kind of look at Drake, like I said, I look at him, his strategic point of view, to me, is like, yo, that's masterclass. I respect that. As an artist and as an MC, yeah, I can't even put him anywhere. Like, I can't.
He can't make none of your top five, top nothing lists.
Top five? No.
I mean, in any top five list.
No. Gotta understand, I've been listening to music for a while too. Like, my musical knowledge and artist depth is a little bit deeper than a lot of people. So, you know, bars matter. Where the bars matter, the content matters, like the structure matters. Like, don't get me wrong, Drake is excellent at creating songs that have a hook and can carry a tune and all of that. That's great. But if I'm trying to put somebody on hip hop, like, yo, you need to listen to these bars to understand hip hop.
I would never reference Drake.
Yeah, it's never going to be him.
If it's an alien species that comes to the earth and they're like, oh, tell me about hip hop, tell me about rap, I would not play him.
Now, if you told him, like, show me somebody show me the person that has succeeded the most in, you know, creating a lane. Oh yeah, you put him up there because he's created a lane. He's created a lane. Now, ironic about that, and what I laugh at with a lot of people is, like, you look at, everybody gets mad at him for, singing and everything else and how successful he is. Back in the day, Ja Rule used to do the same thing. And 50 killed him for that.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Ja Rule at where he's supposed to be at right now.
Yep. And you want to know the irony in that whole shit? You want to know what 50 did when he killed him? Took the same shit.
Yeah.
And ran with it. And nobody said nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
he took a format though. I don't think anybody ever confused like 50 or like, oh, he's borrowing lyrics or borrowing tracks from other artists and shit like that.
No, he took his blueprint.
Yeah, he just took the blueprint for success for him and ran with the shit. My problem with Drake is the fact that, my nigga, you have reached the pinnacle. I'm not saying you have I hate to put a ceiling on any artist, given that everything is always fluid and shit like that. But my nigga, you are the number one rap act on the entire face of the planet. You even had people like Kanye West saying like he's the greatest rapper ever. You get what I mean? As far as like success and impact on the game and shit like that.
Yeah, he mentioned it in his album.
Drake is one of the few rappers that has ever existed in the history of the universe who is able to have the amount of gravity, pull, influence, sway, and drop an album and just go away for a while. Yeah. Without receiving any scrutiny from having to do interviews, have people up into his creative process, and things of that nature. He has been able to dodge accountability in so many different ways because I feel like a lot of his fan base holds him up and just say, yo, look at the results. That's all you need to see. But what I look at it like, it's Sunday, right? Like football. You get what I mean? You can have a franchise that got 4, 5, 6 championships that ain't did shit in 20 years.
That's true. Dallas
Cowboys, the America's team. I feel like Drake is the Dallas Cowboys.
Really?
You ain't dropped the album for me, even as a objective listener that was on some shit like, yo, this is a great album. Probably since like 2012.
Okay. The pushback would be, if we're looking at that, and I'm, like I said, once again, I'm not defending. I'm just playing devil's advocate on this. If I'm looking at it from that avenue, but I'm also looking at the avenue that I've taken ever since 2012, right?
He dropped Nothing Was the Same in 2013. Take Care, which is arguably, most people say his best album, came out in 2011.
All right. So if you look at the algorithm or whatever after that, I mean, we can look at it and say, yo, you ain't did shit since then. All right. We ain't stopped talking about him since then.
No.
He ain't not been mentioned as the top artist since then. So it's pretty much one of those things like, yeah, you can say things changed or fell off, but where's your proof? Like, the numbers would suggest differently. If anything, I've gotten more popular. I've gotten more accolades. I've been more acclaimed. So why the fuck would I do something different?
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument. And him as an artist, he probably looking at the deposit that come into his bank account and being on some shit like, why the fuck would I change? My rebuttal to that is, what's your competitive spirit? What's your character and what's your integrity like when it comes to what you do on a day-to-day basis? And I'm not saying like it don't got nothing to do with the results. What I'm saying is this, because maybe you're not thinking as deep as I'm thinking.
Nah,
my nigga, you literally go out there and borrow other motherfuckers' styles.
Yeah,
that shit don't bother you.
Well,
where's your conscience at?
If I'm Drake, I could give a fuck how you feel. Because the bank account says what the bank account says. And I understand what you're saying, but I feel like you're reading it differently and you're looking at it from an artist's perspective, an MC's perspective, somebody that thrives in that. See, now that zone you're talking about, that's the Kendricks. That's the J. Cole's. That's their lane. And we will never confuse their lanes.
But bro, if we looked at it even from a fan's perspective, are you a Kendrick Lamar fan?
Absolutely.
If you heard your favorite Kendrick Lamar song, but then had to hear a reference track that somebody put out online that was word for word, bar for bar,
exactly the
same song from another artist, you'd probably be on some shit like,
yeah, I look at it different.
That shit kind of hurt.
Yeah, I look at it different. What the fuck is that? I would definitely look at it.
It's like with this man, like his history is clear.
Oh, and
The reference tracks, the influence,
yeah,
the taking other motherfuckers' lyrics and verses bar for bar and shit like that. Like, man, come on, man. Like, how do you and the people around you literally hit save on that foul and be on some shit like, you know what, we did a good job today?
because like I said, I feel like if you're looking at it through an artist's eyes with integrity and all of that, that wants to be that, yeah, somebody that has that would probably never do that. But if I'm looking at it as, yo, this is going pop, fuck, why wouldn't, like, yo, fucking, you know, we could go back. It wasn't in the same avenue, but nah, it's dead presidents. Jay-Z took his that one little line and made that shit pop.
Yeah.
You made it a hot line. I made it a hot song. So if we're looking at it from that avenue and that perspective, like, yo, if I can generate the amount of money I can generate with as little work required, like, yo, let's not sit here and act like that's not the American dream. Like, yo, everybody is striving to get to that point. Like, yo, how can I stay home and make money and not break my back or not like go crazy? He's mastered that. And for that,
You trying to say this nigga Drake is a remote working rapper?
I'm trying to say this nigga Drake has reached the point where,
He working for American Airlines.
yeah, this nigga Drake can, boy, this is going to be fucking hard for me to say. There's not much this nigga Drake can do that would alter the trajectory of what he's on now. There's not much. It ain't much. You mentioned he hasn't had a really, really good album since what?
A really, really great album
Real-
since 2012.
2000 what? 12?
2011.
2011. That's 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But this motherfucker's on pace and projected to break Michael Jackson's all-time record.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me you've had 12 years of being mid and you're still projected to be all-time great? What do you do to that?
It's pop, man.
How do you stop that? In other words, what I'm saying is I can understand, and I'm on the fence as far as where you are. Like, yo, I can't respect this man as far as like an MC, an artist, top 5, top 10, none of that shit.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about straight business acumen and how he approaches shit, yeah, this motherfucker's great. The tactics,
He's an
the
unbelievable
subs,
businessman. He's an unbelievable businessman.
like, boom, let's get into the episode. Now we all fired up now, right? The way this motherfucker approaches normal relationship situations is uncanny and crazy and petty as fuck. But he's done it his entire career.
Mhm.
Like his entire career. Beefs, battles. There's been a ton of fucking battles Drake has been in where I'd be like, yo, this nigga lost. Where normally, if you lose, you go sit down for a minute.
Yeah, that's it for you.
Not this nigga.
Nah.
Not this nigga. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yo,
My whole thing is that there is a subset of people that could have set him down. And again, like I said, there are individuals who hold this man up to a certain level of esteem where he is above reproach, or he's above the level of scrutiny that any other artist has. And I'm saying that I feel that the majority of them are our female counterparts and shit like that. Why? And I don't mean to make this a man versus woman thing, but let's keep this shit a bean, ladies. Y'all niggas don't give a fuck about the logistics of shit.
Oh,
If the vibe is right, y'all really don't give a fuck.
so basically you're calling him the LL Cool J of this generation.
I can't even go as far as to say LL Cool J, because it wasn't like LL Cool J lacked originality.
This is true.
And it isn't like if LL Cool J came out with a record, you'd be on some shit like, yo, that motherfucker robbed Big Daddy Kane of that whole verse or some shit like that. LL Cool J would have got excoriated at that point in time. Yeah. I think we at a point now where, being that we're in a social media age, there are a lot of people, and it ain't just artists or motherfuckers in the music industry. It's motherfuckers that look like you and me, except they just got tits and ass, who profit off of Drake's success.
Absolutely.
There are strippers out there who have a whole career that have been launched by Drake song going viral, and that's just the trending song I happen to use on this reel. or him mentioning my spot that I strip at in my particular city. Now motherfuckers is flocking to come see me.
Drake is notorious for mentioning strippers and strip clubs and all
So
that.
it's like, if he wins, there's more of a chance that I win. Why? Because this is the most popping nigga out here, bro.
Absolutely.
Money follows this nigga, and I need some of it and shit like that. So for me to talk down to him, I'm potentially handcuffing myself from potentially making a lucrative business opportunity for myself in the future and shit. That's why a lot of these rap niggas in the past ain't never said shit towards Drake.
Also,
For all the phony, fake shit that he did back in the past, niggas let that shit slide because on some shit like, yo, if it came down to it, why the fuck would I want to cut myself off from having a Drake feature in the future?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of the Hove effect, honestly. Like, it wouldn't benefit you for saying some shit like that.
But it's worse than that.
Yeah.
It's worse than that. I can say motherfucker be on some shit like, yo, I'm not going to say nothing bad about Hove because, you know what, it's going to fuck up my money. And if Hove want to do a feature, I don't want to have had something said bad about this man. Versus, I don't want to say anything bad about Hove because if this nigga come back to me on wax, he might kill me on a record. And that could really end my career. And I can't do shit after that. There's a difference. I don't think anybody's scared of Drake on some shit like, yo, nigga, if I come at Drake or some shit like that, lyrically, this nigga might end my career.
Yeah, lyrically,
Stop
I don't feel like anybody fears Drake lyrically, but I feel like there's a subcontext, like I said, we're not giving Drake credit for. And maybe, like I said, this leads into our topic on the show. There is a certain line as men where I feel like we stay away from, or we shy away from. Or it's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. That feels petty. That feels a little bit messy. That feels like some bitch shit.
Yeah.
Drake will not hesitate to pull that card and the one after that. Like, Drake will drop an interlude with your girl, leaving a message on his answer machine, talk about how, trying to work it out. And then he'll drop a bar like, yo, I was just trying to be a brother to you. I was there when you needed to work it out. Like, yo, what the fuck? And that's the part of it that's like, that's the part of it that as a man
feels.
It's just like, bro, man, come on, yo.
So speaking of, we know we are your favorite podcast out there, but the number one podcast in the world, number one show in the world, Joe Budden.
JBP, shout out.
So, Jersey's own. Got to give respect where respect due, regardless of how you might feel about the man. He is very successful in the pivot that he did with his career.
Absolutely.
All right. Drake and Joe Budden have a history both on wax and off wax.
Yeah.
That's on the record and off the record for those who don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So they have a long history. There have been diss tracks exchanged. There have been verbal barbs exchanged in magazines, interviews, things of that nature. If you're unfamiliar with the history, Drake admittedly grew up a big fan of Joe Budden's. Joe Budden's had probably, in the scheme of things, people looking back on it, didn't have a long run, but he did have a lot of hype and a strong coming out party when he did come out. Fire, Pump It Up, the Music's tapes and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody who is a fan of rap would ever consider Joe Budden to be either trash at rapping, because he's not.
Not at all.
He's actually a very exceptional rapper and shit
Absolutely.
like that. And they would also not consider his music career a failure.
Nope.
I will go as far as to say that Joe Budden's probably more so bowed out of the music industry than got kicked out the music industry.
I say he put himself in a lot of bad situations. Self sabotage situations, rather than being pushed or muted out. It was rather like,
So use that as the context for the following. Joe Budden's podcast, which is, like I said, a very, very, very influential piece right now online. I would suggest anybody go check that out. It's a lot better than I thought it was. He had some critiques of Drake's record with J. Cole, First Person Shooter, which many people would feel who have listened to this entire album is the most enticing and attractive song on this entire record. Mainly because of J. Cole. Like, let's get this out the way right now, though. J. Cole been killing niggas on their own record for about 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah, it's been nasty. Yo.
It's been trash.
He's been on a nasty run, yo.
It's been terrible. It's been hard to watch.
Yeah, it's been bad.
I'm pretty sure this motherfucker J. Cole ain't out here volunteering himself on people's records. So somebody in your camp or you are reaching out to J. Cole to be on this record. And we about to get this nigga on the record. Nigga, this shit about to go up. Not for you.
He says that on the track. Like, yo, you put Cole on the record. He sounded yo.
Let's just call it what it is, man.
Come on, yo.
J. Cole, at this point in his career, is the best rapper in hip-hop right now. Lyrics, just straight rapping, he is the best rapper.
I know how you feel about
right
Kendrick. You sure you want to put that on record?
He's the best rapper right now.
Got you on record saying that.
You got me on record. Got me on our podcast saying that shit.
All right, cool. All right.
Kendrick, I feel arguably, not even arguably, he is the better artist. J. Cole is the better rapper.
Okay.
Right. Bring you in your microphone, in your speaker, in your rap books.
And line them up.
Line them up and then just rap for me right now.
And just,
okay. J. Cole, you got that. All right? The nigga that's in your neighborhood that's like, everybody be like, yo, he could spit. Type shit. He that guy.
Okay.
So Joe Budden has some scrutiny for the record, saying that J. Cole pretty much dog walked Drake on this fucking record.
Absolutely agree.
Not that Drake didn't belong on the record by any stretch of the imagination, but he just said you pretty much killed him on your own track. And that he made a couple of mistakes. One by letting J. Cole go first.
No, Cole.
He did mention it.
I mean, technically Cole went first, but technically he didn't.
No, Cole went first though. He was the first voice
you heard. Yes.
He had the first bars on the record.
I mean,
technically,
yeah.
Did.
All right, I'll give it that.
So then that plus he said that the second mistake he made was to start mentioning like the three-headed monster of Drake, Kendrick, and Cole, and who's the GOAT. Like they're talking about who's the GOAT.
No, actually,
us three.
Actually, no.
Who's the GOAT?
Cole mentioned that. Cole mentioned the three-headed monster. Drake mentioned just him and Cole.
But you're right. What I meant to say was Drake had a line in there where he was talking about bitches at the dinner table discussing like who the GOAT.
Say it then. Say it then.
Who's the GOAT? Mm-hmm. And shit like that. And it's like, on this record.
I mean, before we heard that verse, it might have been debatable. I guess.
If you want to say. But anywho, let's fast forward a little bit. So he critiqued the album. He had some things to say about it, and everything he said to me felt pretty much valid. There was a beat switch at the end of the record where you had the feeling that Drake tried to come in and kind of redeem some of the things that happened early on in the record. It didn't quite land itself in a way that said like, all right, you kind of redeemed yourself. Maybe this shit is a little bit more even. Nah, Cole still had it.
You know my opinion. I feel like that motherfucker Drake heard that shit, was like, yo, I'm going to just mail this thing.
Cole still had it. So with the backdrop of the record, plus the backdrop of there have been diss tracks exchanged in the past between these folks, and with the backdrop of the fact that Drake was a J. Cole fan, so much so that he actually borrowed his flow on a few occasions. Like he borrowed Big Sean's flow. Like he borrowed plenty of Memphis and Houston rappers' flows.
So you say he borrows a lot?
He borrows a lot.
Okay.
And he does not return it.
Okay.
Drake, also known as Champagne Poppy on Instagram.
Ooh, all right.
Added Joe Budden. This was, I applaud Drake on this. At least for this. You got to give a losing nigga applause every once in a while. Rather than being in the lane of innuendo, he actually added Joe Budden's name on his Instagram post. He says, at Joe Budden, you have failed at music. You left it behind to do what you are doing in this clip because this is what actually pays your bills. For any artist watching this, just remember you are watching a failure give their opinion on his idea of a recipe for success. A quitter give their opinion on how to achieve longevity. You switch careers because the things that pop into your brain had you broke, living check to check, and the raps you write have 450 men showing up to your shows in dusty Aniche jeans to screw up their face to Mood Music 29 and pretend you are the GOAT. Please, to any artist that is doing what they feel is right, don't let these opinions affect your mindset after the fact. This guy is the poster child of frustration and surrendering. You retired and we never hung up your jersey. We don't even remember your number. We know you for doing this. You withdrew from rap, not because you accomplished all you need to. It's because it wasn't working for you. I never want anybody in the generations to think that the whole everybody's entitled to their opinion thing is real. This is a man projecting his own self-hate and the fact I did and continue to do everything he wanted to do for himself. If you need to put it in simpler terms, I own a 767 plane. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions.
Yo, can I say this real quick?
You can say whatever you like. It's your podcast.
Yo, you gotta leave it to Drake. Like when I said like before, like yo, you gotta be careful sometimes. Like niggas like this, like the petty, like there was no need to bring up half of that shit. Like, I mean, you could have left it very, very subtle, quick, sweet. Nah, this motherfucker Drake attacks your manhood, your ego, your pockets, everything. And it's like, bro, like there's a such thing as like too much violence. Like that sometimes it's like you got to look at what was the crime. Did the punishment fit the crime?
Right.
And it's like, bro, all he did was give his opinion about something. Everybody has one. Now, as far as the man, living conditions, how he chose to leave, how he chooses to live, is all of that shit relevant? To Drake, it would say, yeah. But this is definitely, I'm talking from a mountaintop type of talk. Like, bro, you can't say shit to me. And
yeah,
in respects, he's right.
Why you talking on the throne?
Yeah, on respects, he's right. But this is where that petty shit come in. Like a lot of, honestly, hearing you read a lot of that shit made me cringe a little bit. Like, goddamn,
it is cringy.
Bro, like, fuck,
it is cringy.
Yo, you ain't even need to say that. But all right,
bro. I would say this, man. I'm a hip hop guy, and you think about the one arm of hip hop, which is rap, which is MCing. You are always going to be open to criticism and scrutiny about your skills.
Any art, you're going to be open to criticism.
Anytime you put anything new out, you are up for debate as far as whether or not it stands up to not only your last thing, but whether or not this right here is good. It becomes an even bigger multiplier when you talk about artists critiquing other artists.
Absolutely.
We reached this whole fucking thing of 2023 or these last 10 years or whatever like that, where like all these niggas want to be buddy and shit. You see it in the NBA. Niggas don't want to criticize other niggas' games and shit.
Well, you
motherfucker can't go left. He can't dribble. Oh, I don't want to say Jaylen Brown can't dribble, man. That motherfucker's an all-star. The nigga can't dribble left.
I mean, we saw it in the NFL when Michael Parsons came to the defense of Zach Wilson because Rodney Harrison said some shit. Now, he said he's not special.
Bro.
And it was like, well, I mean, he's not really lying at this point.
A lot of us who are 30 plus come from an era where if a motherfucker put out some shit that's trash, you can call it trash.
Yeah.
And it won't be taken personally. He obviously took this shit personally.
Absolutely.
My man B from Brooklyn put it perfectly on Twitter. I'm glad this shit kind of was semi-viral too and shit. He said Drake had wrote a 4-page letter, sealed it with a kiss. I love that. Why you write all that shit to Joe Buttons, bro? When you was a Joe Buttons fan and shit. Your ass drove your ass from Canada to Jersey or New York to meet Joe Buttons and smoke hookah with this man. Now you got all this shit to say about Joe Buttons.
That's crazy.
That's really bad. You really stole this man's flow on numerous occasions, and now you got something bad to say. And all you have to hang your hat on is your success when you're a pop artist. It's like, yo, bro, you not above reproach. You got smirked on your own record. It's pretty much clear as day. Anybody that's in the room that is objective, that was in that studio session, would probably say, nah, nigga, J. Cole smoked you on your record. You already put the shit out. Ain't no going back and changing that shit. There's nothing that you could do. If anybody should have anything to say as far as critiquing that shit, I would think it would be an MC who was as talented or is as talented as Joe Buttons is. And what I feel is ironic about the whole thing of criticizing Joe Buttons, who is an executive producer on this album? Lil Yachty. You leaned on Lil Yachty to go in and listen to your album front to back, back to front, left to right, pick beats and say, yo, what is hot, what is not, improve this, improve that. One, the first mistake is Lil Yachty. He put out any good records that we fuck with? I can't stand when this nigga rap. I hate it. I really do. Now that doesn't mean he doesn't have an ear for music or some shit like that. But my nigga, you're criticizing Joe Budden's take on your music while having a motherfucker like that in your corner okaying your music. To me, that really contradicts the whole I'm a rapper shit, bro. I hate that.
I mean, yeah, it was.
I hate it.
It's probably a bad look having Yachty executive produce.
So the shit continues with Drake making posts on his Instagram story saying you thought you was Kobe. He posted the clip of Draymond Green talking to Paul Pierce on the sideline when he's like, you ain't gonna get no farewell tour. They don't love you like that. You thought you was Kobe, huh? Your ass sitting over there on the bench. You ain't got shit to say except from on the bench and stuff like that. He made some posts on his Instagram page, pretty much calling out all his haters and people that got things to say. He also took a shot at Parks, who's on the Joe Budden's podcast, saying that what'd he say?
Took a shot at Parks?
He took a shot at Parks, bro.
That's disrespectful, yo. It's disrespectful.
He took a shot at Parks saying like, why would somebody take music advice pretty much from a Mark Zuckerberg looking ass motherfucker or whatever like that?
I'm sorry, did he forget what 40 looked like?
Oh no.
Nah.
At ease, brother.
Yo.
At ease,
hey,
brother.
yo, man.
The cow.
Hey, yo. Bro. Hey. See? All right.
Parks had a...
I'm going to let him live.
Parks clapped back with the fact that he actually was an engineer and producer on one of Drake's records. On Views? No, Sandra's Rose, which was on Scorpion. So he was like, all right, well, if I don't know shit about music, why the fuck you had me in the room back in the day? So that's neither here nor there. But the sensitivity of this man, it fucking infuriates me. And this is why I stopped fucking with this nigga as being a fan of his before. Because he pulled this shit with Kendrick back when the Control verse had came out back in the day. Anybody remember how that verse start? You mentioned my name, but nobody really remember your whole verse and shit like that. When y'all was cool, nigga, y'all was on each other's albums. Kendrick did a whole song on your fucking album. You did a feature on Good Kid, Mad City.
Okay.
And you talk shit about this man because he had a hot ass verse that went viral, and you just couldn't stand not being involved in that shit.
Is it fair to call Drake the Kevin Durant of the rap game?
And that's one of Drake's biggest fans. I would think so. I would think so.
Two of the most,
outside of the whatever burner accounts and shit. Yeah.
As much bullshit as we give LeBron for, using shit and taking shit, nobody is more sensitive than Kevin Durant, yo. He respond to shit that's like, bro, let it go. How do you go at comedian Ryan Davis? That shit, petty this is back to what I was saying, this petty shit. If you are who you think you are, at some point, lions don't respond to the thoughts of lambs. Just keep it cool. Shut the fuck up.
Let me give you the line. He said to Parks in his Instagram story, sorry, one more thing. Imagine listening to Mark Zuckerberg tell the next generation about good verses in turnt beats with 3 laughing emojis with a picture of Parks on the podcast. That's from Champagne Poppy's Instagram account.
It's too much energy, yo.
That's wild.
It's too much energy.
I think as men, though, we look at men to respond as men whenever adversities come. It looked like he took that shit that Joe Budden said very personally.
Absolutely.
It seemed like he was hurt by it. It seemed like it took way too much of his attention that it needed to if you are who you say you are. Because if you are who you say you are, it's just Joe Budden. What is the big deal? I look at a situation where, we had Kanye West go up to the Breakfast Club and have Charlemagne tell him that he didn't fuck with his album right in front of his face. And Kanye West responded more of an adult than Drake did. He just said, "Oh, okay, that's cool. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you don't fuck with it, press fast forward. That's cool." But this nigga to write a long ass 2 paragraphs about the shit, to me, that don't even like scream MC, rapper, or whatever like that. But I guess we off the whole calling him to the carpet as far as being what that means. Anyway,
you know what makes this whole situation even worse with the whole Drake criticisms and everything else? By the way, on Google, I've never seen this shit before. It is rated a 2.7.
2.7?
2.7. I wish I could bring up real quick, like, and look up some comparisons. But yeah, 2.7. What makes this situation even worse is not only are you responding a certain way, but you got other people responding for you. Like, why is Birdman out here making? What the fuck is going on out here? Yo, why is Birdman talking to Drewski talking about you don't want this smoke? Like, why is he telling Joe Biden, like, yo, you ain't built for this gangster shit? Like, Drake ain't built for this gangster shit. What the fuck are we talking about?
Let me ask you a question. Let me get this rundown right quick. We got So Far Gone in 2009. Thank Me Later in 2010. Take Care in 2011. And Nothing Was the Same in 2013. Fantastic run.
Yeah.
Overall, success-wise, good. And even, I would say, the content, the skill level of his raps at the time before we knew what we know now was really, really good.
Yeah.
Since then, you got, if you're reading this, it's too late in 2015. Also in 2015, we had the collab with Future, For the Time to Be Alive. It was a good record, but it wasn't just yours. All right. We got Views in 2016. More Life in 2017. Scorpion in 2018. Care Package 2019. Dark Lane demo tapes in 2020. Certified Lover Boy in 2021. It was mid. It was all right. Let me not lie. It was all right. Honestly, Nevermind in 2022. Her Loss with 21 Savage in 2022 as well. Now, these 3 albums. Well, 3. Honestly, Nevermind, Dark Lane demo, Care Package, and More Life. All had the feel of being playlisty rather than being albums, which begs the question, would it be best served for Drake to not make any more albums and just drop EPs from now on? Is it EP or LPs? Like the short joints?
LP. But, I mean, you could do an EP now with like 10 songs and call it a day.
Yeah. Is it best for him to just drop them 6 and 7, 5, 6, 7 tracks?
I say,
get the fuck up out of here.
I say the problem, as you know, like, we used to thrive off the long album, and we said something before, like, yo, people don't make long albums. And I feel like this is potentially a reason why. Like, yeah, you gave us 23 songs, minus 2 or 3 interludes and all that, so 20 songs. It's been proven for the most part, out of them 20 songs, you probably really only gonna fuck with maybe 4, maybe 5.
Bro.
And I feel like I go back to the Daytona album, which to me was fucking great. And I believe it had, 9 songs, maybe?
Don't tell Kanye that.
Maybe 7 to 9 songs. So I look at those albums like, yo, if you can focus on like 7 to 10 songs and make them fucking fantastic and put it out, you're fucking great. I feel like if you're asking me as a consumer, I'm good with a 10 track Drake album. I'm good with it.
But as an investor, you'd be like,
oh, no.
This shit's working. Keep doing it.
Nah, push it. Like, we ain't got no reason to stop now. Nothing stops the money train.
Keep printing.
Exactly. So, I mean, if we're talking straight from a what works standpoint, keep pushing. If we're talking from my own musical enjoyment, probably about 10. I'm good with that.
I listened to the whole album 3 times in preparation for this show. It was tough. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I listened through.
It was a fight.
It was a little bit of a fight at some point, but I listened to the album through Apple Music, and I put stars next to all the tracks that I fuck with. And when I got done looking at how many tracks that I put stars next to that I was fucking with, I had got to 6.
All right, can I take a wild guess?
You can. If you want to go down the list, I don't know.
I'm gonna say first person shooter.
Slime You Out. First person shooter.
If I had to take a guess, maybe what was it? 8 a.m. in Charlotte.
8 a.m. in Charlotte.
What else? For me, Daylight had a funny, weird thing to it where I thought it was going to be better than it was. I was a little bit mad.
Not one for me.
What would Pluto do?
Nope.
Yeah, I know it wasn't that. I know it wasn't Rich Baby Daddy.
Can assure you.
All
no.
right. So what's that? 3? All right. What other 3 did you have?
So I had Fear of Heights. Once we got past the Rihanna diss, the track was the track was fire. After that, I said first person shooter already. 8 a.m. in Charlotte. All the parties, the joint with Chief Keef.
Like that.
I'll fuck with that one. And then the intro, Virginia Beach. It was a good record. It was a good record and shit. It just wasn't what I needed to hear to start the record off.
Yeah, starting off.
Or whatever. I probably have a couple of ones in there that I'm kind of like on the fence about. Members Only featuring Party Next Door. And that's pretty much it. Shit was uninspiring, bro.
It was.
The interlude was fire. Screw the World. If I Ruled the World joint. I'm glad he ain't try to rap on that. But that was it. 6 out of 23. But it's really 6 out of 21 because it's 2 interludes on here. That don't leave me.
And you gotta take one away. You gotta take that J. Cole record away because that's his record.
Yeah, I gotta take that off.
Yeah, so it's really 5.
Ain't enough for me and shit.
I mean, technically, you could take the SZA record off because SZA really kind of added on that too.
And what's really worse about this shit is the fact that he got some really bad records on here.
Yeah,
he got like some bona fide skips. Like this ain't never going to be a thing. Like, oh, it might grow on me and shit. You gotta listen to it in the right. No, I'm not listening to that Bad Bunny record. No. You come on speaking Spanish and shit.
I'm not listening to a Sexy Ray record.
How does nigga go from like, how the fuck he go from talking corporate America, white guy voice, to talking using Ebonics slang, to talking patois, to talking this London talk? Now the nigga speak Spanish.
Hey,
I don't fucking get it, man.
Hey, bruv. It's all for the dogs.
Yeah, it's all for the dogs.
For all my dogs.
Pick up crew. I don't get it. But a lot of this album, though, when we talk about the theme of it, follows along the line of previous Drake albums where one could say that Drake has made a career off talking about unhealthy relationships and failed relationships. And he has been very, very transparent in giving every single detail of the whole shit as much as he can. That is, not going to land him in court for, talking bad about somebody's situation or slander or whatever like that. So this album is more the same, man. And to me, I remember listening to this shit in the car and saying to myself, like, yo, this just sounds like a really, really messy ass nigga. His history as such has proven that. I mean, one of the tracks that come to mind is Marvin's Room.
Oh, man.
There was a voicemail in there with the girl talking in the beginning of the record and shit like that. I'm like, oh, that's a nice little voicemail and shit like that. Come to find out it's his ex-girlfriend, and that was a real fucking voicemail. He had to fucking pay her money and shit. Like, why using my shit? That's a private fucking voicemail. Using that shit on the record. This nigga is so messy, Nove. Can't stand him. What is it about dudes and being messy in and post relationships that just seem so fucking cringy that it's just hard to, like, as a innocent bystander, just watch that train wreck transpire. Why is it so icky?
From a male point of view, you just feel like you handle relationships, exes, a certain type of way. You go through whatever you gotta go through. You get whatever pain you gotta go through out the way, and you leave it the fuck alone. Anything after that just kind of leans on like maybe you ain't over that. Like the dude that's cool and fine, and then just start crying. Like, yeah, this song reminds me of this. It's like, oh, shit. And we've all been there. That's the fucking thing. We've all been there. We've all done some things. It's been some places you can't go back to, some songs you can't listen to. Like, you know, you have those blockers up. You have those barriers and blockers up. It's just like the way you choose to proceed and act and carry yourself in those moments says a lot. And it's just like, yeah, there's a certain way you go through that pain. And sometimes it's like, it comes out a certain way and it looks weird and it looks fucking awkward. Like,
what's the messiest or most pettiest you've been with a female that you was fucking with or afterward?
So, owed me.
Oh God,
I have to put this out here. Old me would do shit like, if I see somebody has moved on, I want to test it. I want to see how much you moved on. So, you know, I drop one of those. You know, I was just watching something here, thinking about the way we used to such and such and such and such and such and such. You know, one of those nice, good old toxic maneuvers and shit. Like, hey, just give me a call, da da da, and see what happens after that. And then, if anything, if what was accomplished after that, then I disappear again. So it's like, yeah, I got that one. All right, I'm out. But yeah, I really haven't done anything toxic as of late. I've actually been pretty chill. I've been out the way. Yo,
congratulations, by the way.
let me tell you something, yo.
Good job.
Yo, I can't. Yo, let me tell you something. I can't even say that phrase no more. Out the way. Yo, that gets so much bad pub. Like, I don't understand it. Like,
That's my thing, though. I say that shit all the time.
Like, yo, I'll be out the way. What that mean, though? Like, I'm out the fucking way. Like,
get the fuck out my way.
I'm not in the press. I'm not in the press. I'm not in the news clippings. I'm chilling. What about you? What say you?
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Yeah. Shit. Season 3, nigga.
Pettiest I've been. Shit. I mean, only thing that really come to mind with me is I used to have a girl who I at the time thought was my girlfriend, but now looking back on it, probably wasn't. She's probably just everything except being like officially my girl and shit like that. But we was fucking with each other like heavy. I was in love with this girl. Like, I would have married her in a heartbeat and shit. And we got together and shit, but she hit me with this really ain't working out. Da 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 da. My heart's in another place. I gotta find myself. She had recently lost a family member and shit, and it was kind of affecting her and her mental health. So she wound up getting back with an ex of hers or whatever. But the whole time that we was fucking with each other, she used to dog this nigga. Like, talking about how much the sex was trash, how this nigga ain't had no swag, he ain't know how to dress, he ain't never took her no places and shit like that. He was just like comfortable and all this other shit. But when the shit happened, oddly enough, we all started working together. So it was situations where I'd be on some shit like, oh wow, I gotta like really work hand in hand with this nigga. And she's around to witness all the shit too. And he did everything in his power to keep the shit cool, like between us and shit like that. That motherfucker like order food for everybody or some shit like that. He'd be like, oh, just I got you such and such, da 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 da. If you want to get, some pizza or whatever like that, grab you a couple slices or whatever like that.
That nigga was buying you pizza.
And I remember, like, I had a good ass relationship with my management at this job, and we would all get assigned to like certain rooms and shit like that. But I gotta say wherever the fuck I wanted to work at. So anytime like the roster would come out and I see like where each person was working at, I would see times where they were in the same room together. I'd be like, yo, switch that. Wow. It's either like put somebody else in that room or put me in a room with her and shit like that. And she gonna get all these bars and some shit like that. Maybe you told me how fucking bad the sex was and shit like that. Nigga, head was trash. Wasn't laying it down all of a sudden. I was reminding her every single chance I got. Nigga, I was hurt. The Dream album was out, Love versus Money or Love versus Hate, whatever the fuck it was. Nigga, I was spitting every day. I wanted her back so fucking bad, man. And it was like, that was the pettiest I got. Damn. But it was a wake up call though. I grew up off that situation. Like, yo, these motherfuckers really don't give a fuck, man. They'll be with your ass today, and then the next day they be on some shit like, oh, my feelings changed, da 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 da, and they want to bring it up too shortly after. So it's like, you know what, man, fuck this shit, whatever. It was a learning experience. I was a young man, early 20s, whatever.
That's crazy. I don't even feel that bad anymore.
You shouldn't. I fucked up. You shouldn't. You shouldn't feel that bad. I fucked up. I was in a bad space. I wasn't myself at that point in time. But yeah, that's as petty as I got. But I think why it's so cringy for us though is like you expect men to handle themselves with a certain level of decorum and a certain level of response to adversity. And like when you see niggas get like in their feelings or start to respond in kind where they gotta like throw their money up in there or throw their success in there or they tell you like what you got, what you lacking, dirty macking your girl or something like that. It just come off as like so fucking tacky.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like romance, because it's sort of like a lot of times motherfuckers take this ideology. Like a lot of times when it comes to women, she ain't yours. It's just your turn. Or they have this idea like, yo, women are like Bluetooth. They just gonna connect to the nearest device, nigga. If you ain't around, she gonna be with the next nigga. I think like dudes will look at that on some shit like, how many times have you heard from an elder man and be on some shit like, man, don't be getting into no bullshit over these women, bro. Go find the next one.
All the time.
They come a dime a dozen. How many times you heard that shit?
Dime a dozen. Want to be right there. You know, you can't chase women and money at the same time.
Yeah.
All that shit, yeah.
So you hear shit like that and you think to yourself like, yo, you would go this far over a woman? And with the dude Drake, it's like, my nigga, half of these motherfuckers, we probably don't even know who they are. The shit for me, just as a person that keep track of shit, I'm thinking to myself, this nigga Drake is probably one of the most powerful, influential people in the music business. Nigga, this shit been going on for the last 10 years. Why are you finding yourself in the same relationship issues that you did back when you was on the come up and shit?
Yeah, why is it the same? Like, something should have changed by now, right?
You ain't learning nothing from this shit? Like, you haven't gotten better at fucking being like the side nigga or the boyfriend or the sneaky link or nothing?
Well, you know, it comes down to as well, like, you know, sometimes, you know, people like playing that role regardless of how they make it seem. Like, you know, there are some people that thrive in that role or find solace in that role because that's what they're used to versus actual maturity, evolution, and being able to be like, you know what? Yeah, I ain't even gonna do that no more. I ain't even gonna put myself in a position no more. Right. And on top of that, let's keep it funky. You want to buy an album when somebody is like, you know, talking they talk or going through their shit about relationships or what? Not, or you want to get the album like, I love my wife. Like, nobody's listening to that. Let's be honest. Yeah. We can be honest about it.
Yeah, no, ain't nobody listening to that shit. I mean, the drama sells and shit like that, but I also think it's a lot of people that listen to Drake that are fans of him that kind of connect with some of the things that he said because they probably be going through the same things.
Agreed.
Or whatever. And, I mean, as women and men alike and shit. But to me, it just kind of seemed like he's taking a safe route on a lot of occasions. And, I mean, that's cool if it works for you. All well and good. But even with the Rihanna innuendo, even though he didn't drop any names or whatever, a lot of times in the past he has been romantically linked to Rihanna in one shape, form, or fashion. To me, it hits as if it seems like a shot at Rihanna and A$AP Rocky.
Yeah.
And if it is, all right, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say, like, if it is indeed that, like, how does that, like, serve you? Like, you are, like, you are probably the biggest name in music and shit like that. You already know people are going to draw that conclusion that you might be talking about her, even when you put up the anti shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Do you know how weak that shit makes you look? To most motherfuckers who have like no dog in the fight, no pun intended.
Yeah. Oof.
But like niggas that shit fan, to probably be on some shit like, yo, this record is tough. It's like, yo, if you look at this a little bit deeper, can you not see how lame this nigga be acting sometimes?
I mean, I see a lot of the same activity from Future in any conversations about Sierra.
Another lame nigga.
Or Russ, especially. Like, every chance this motherfucker get, like, it's like, God damn, like, bro, stop.
Come on.
But, hey, man, like I said, some people function in that space. That's where they function at. That's their comfort zone. So, it is what it is.
Do you feel like this album is the latest example of how a lot of times we could use music, especially just straight albums, as soundtracks to our love lives, and it can perpetuate negative ways of going about handling your relationships with people? Have you found yourself looking at Drake records or Drake albums in the past, or any other artist for that matter, and saying that once this shit gets into the water supply and becomes popular, this ain't a good way to go about dealing with the male-female romance relationship?
In other words, like, do I have any songs I would play in an emotional state that probably ain't best practice?
Nah. So you might get a Drake record or a Future record, or enter artist name here record, where it be on some shit like, there is a record that is tough, but it's about being on one side or the other, about being the sneaky link, or being the motherfucker that's fucking up a marriage,
or being toxic.
And it's like, yo, this shit is tough. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of gets insidious in the fact that, like, you like, that shit, actually, you know what I mean? I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with being a side nigga. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. There's definitely been a couple songs that have played into that soundtrack of when I wanted to go a certain way, that, like, I gravitated more towards that type of music. Ironically, Future and Drake are definitely at the top of the list.
Gotta be.
But,
Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was like older Drake too. It wasn't so much like this type of Drake, but like, yeah, it was definitely a Drake song in there. It was definitely a couple Future songs in there. Like, fuck, but
it almost felt like it felt like sometimes his music is a promotion for bad relationships.
I feel like I wouldn't give him that much credit. I wouldn't say that. I would say it's the classic example of negativity spread faster. So, like, for the most part, we've been bombarded, not just by Drake, not just by Future, but we've been bombarded for years and years about, like, people having relationship issues or this or that or this, like, on both sides, male and female. So it's just been like, you know, I can understand how somebody can fall into that mindset, because it's not a lot of positivity music wise in relationships at all. So, you know, like, one of the greatest, well, one of the most toxic songs ever was "I Should Have Cheated." Like,
I should have cheated.
And don't get me wrong, that song is dope, but, you know, yeah. Like, come on. So,
I think about the Dreams Love versus Money album.
Yo, you stand on that album. Like, that's your shit.
It's gotta be one of the top 3 greatest R&B albums
that
of all
is
time.
his shit, yo.
Sorry. But I remember that being the soundtrack for my life at a certain point in time in my life. And I could see how niggas would be on some shit like, these Drake albums are the soundtrack for my life as well. And I could even further see how it would be the soundtrack for a successful nigga's love life as well. Like, if you're an NBA nigga, you on the road 8 months out of the year and shit, and you dealing with this chick in motherfucking Ohio, but you got this one in fucking Seattle and shit like that. It's like we on. I'm being left on red. The shit going green. You switch teams. Da 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 da. All this other shit. Like I could see how that could be the soundtrack to your life and shit. It just seems like there's never a resolution in his music. Should it be? I'm not saying that it should, but you would think him as an artist, as he continues to write, continues to grow as an artist, continues to grow as a man, that he would have found something that feels like we reached a plateau of finding ways to not run into the same issues that we ran into before. And I feel like it is a perpetuation of not even bad relationships. I don't want to say that. But there's a perpetuation of being just in a state of flux of it is what it is. I move on. I'm down now, but I'm about to boss up on this next track. So it's like almost like selling a drug and shit like that. Like, yeah, this shit is fucking me up. I feel heartbroken or some shit like that. But guess what? We about to get this money and turn up. That's the next song.
Would it? Do you predict? Let's say you could predict the future. Because I could have swore there was a time where this motherfucker Drake was in a relationship. I don't remember exactly what was going on. But do you think the sound and the message of his music would change if he like found that one person?
I think it would. I also think it's good for business that he doesn't find that person.
Ooh.
Like nobody wants to hear Drake in a relationship. So I think it plays a part in his romantic choices that he's like, yo, I can't have a wife and make this type of music.
So you feel like as long as he is where he is and as long as he wants to stay where he is, it would be better served for him to remain. It's almost like as toxic as it is, it would do him more harm than good.
Absolutely. And I would go as far as to say, like, I don't even know if a lot of these relationships you talk about is real anyway. So I know he could be the most charming motherfucker in the world. I don't know. I know there's plenty of women out there that find him attractive and shit like that. But I also know you have a history of having motherfuckers write records for you, both male and female. And it could be the situation where you like, damn, a certain artist wrote a heartfelt ass song about some shit they was going through with their girl, their ex or some shit like that. You ain't never gonna pop. Let me get that. And it's like, fuck, man. This nigga got a record on his album called Virginia Beach. You fucking with bitches in Virginia Beach? You worldwide. It's either got something to do with Pusha T or somebody else wrote that record for you. What's up, man? Why you name it that?
Virginia Beach ain't even that national. Like it's just Virginia Beach.
You got access to like anyone in Hollywood, LA, Miami, New York, Berlin, fucking Ivory Coast, Japan, wherever you want to go. But we land in Virginia Beach.
Hey, man, you can't dictate where you meet that person at. I mean, I know what you're saying, though.
I feel like this dude.
Oh, man.
I feel like he's done his job very well. The job that he got tasked to do, which was make a lot of money, be as much in the limelight as possible. I would even give him credit to say that where his career is now is way further than I projected that he would go. When I first started listening to him back in 2007 or something like that, I did not see this. The main wall that I thought he would run into is the fact that other artists in the industry itself would kind of be on some shit like, nah, you ain't nice enough. We got the Funk Flex freestyle reading off the BlackBerry and shit like that. I'm like, niggas is gonna kill this shit. This is terrible rapping.
Nope.
This is an awful moment. It was not.
Nope. Sidestep that.
You know what I mean? So I thought that he would reach a ceiling. He did not. He killed all the odds.
Can you name me another artist? And I know out there it sounds like we're bashing Drake. We are, to an extent. But can you name another artist who have arguably lost more rap battles, like just lyrically, just like, yeah, you lost that, than Drake?
Nah.
I'll put it this way. Other than Meek, has he won one?
Other than Meek, has he won a rap battle? I don't think so.
Nah, I don't either. I don't either. And I don't even feel like I'm not gonna defend Meek, but I am gonna defend this.
But if you are going off wins and losses, if the Joe Buttons Drake beef was an actual thing, I would say he probably won that because what happened to your enemy, you know? Like actual on record lyrics, like yeah, he lost.
Yeah, but like even with Meek, like I said, Drake excels at petty. Like, what was the coffin killer for Meek? Is that a world tour or your girls tour?
Terrible.
Come on, yeah.
And that's your friend too. That's
Can't
wild.
say that, yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, man, all the men out there that listen to this show,
For all the dogs.
for all the dogs, tails wagging and all this other shit,
Ruff.
we encourage you to tap into Jesus Christ and get rid of your bitch assness. Because it is not attractive to the females out here, and the men out here don't respect you. Stop with the sassy shit. Stop with this petty shit. Stop with these niggas out here talking about other dudes behind their back to other niggas. Oh, God, I hate that shit, bro.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's not worse than
I
that.
deal with this shit with a certain somebody, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck, man? What the hell do you say about me behind my back? God damn. Stop talking about other men. But, yeah, that's going to wrap up season 3, episode 3. We had a pleasure doing the show.
Always.
Glad y'all was around for it.
It's always a good time, man.
We look forward to talking to y'all again very, very soon. Mono Matters Podcast hit our handle on Instagram at Mono Matters on Instagram. Mind on Matters Podcast at gmail.com is the email address.
Mm-hmm.
Questions, comments, concerns, show ideas, guest appearances, liquor suggestions, liquor donations. Financial donations. I ain't working right now. Let's go. I mean, take it all, whatever. But yeah, it's been a pleasure doing the show. Any parting words, no, for the dogs out there?
Hey, man. I saw you with that basketball player. He ain't scored, though. Just know, man, if any other podcasts want to go to war, it's on a site like www. On a site like a .com. Yo, man.
We out.
Peace.